I'm a managing partner at Bad Systems company, a small IT boutique located in a niche, southern Serbia. I have been working in this company for the last 5-6 years with two of my partners from Switzerland, and we have built several digital products in different industries, like project management, for example, Kanban, Star Loads, which is in transportation and loads exchange, Papergene, which is in document processing, Remacy for the resource management capacities, and many others in a really vast number of industries and sectors. Before that, I have been a product manager at Acetech in the United States, working on a product for engaging the all call leads for the car loans. Believe it or not, in the United States, you have 14 different categories of bankruptcy. And if you're a bankrupt person only holding cash without a bank account, Acetech provided a tool for you to buy a car. So I have been there for 2 years. And before that, my role was only a software engineer. And I'm saying only because I'm missing coding, but that has been passion for my life. But life has moved me to product and project management, which I like too, but it's not that interesting. So enough about me. Let's talk about our roadmap today. Firstly, we are going to discuss about value, what, why, and how to value anything. And then we are going to move to product and talk about, do you really have what you need to build a proper product? Third thing in our roadmap is going to be the boutique itself, how unique you are, and do you have the exclusivity that you need to build a proper product? And last but not least is the stop and shop. And I'll explain you why I'm calling it stop and shop. It's not literally the supermarket that we have in Serbia. It's more in the sense of that you need to talk to your clients like you're a retail seller with many products on your shelf, and they can literally pick the best solution they need in order to spend their money at your product. So value. For me, my definition of value is the ease that the customer gets by using a product to solve their problem minus the associated cost. What that means is that if a customer has an easier life because of your product or because of your solution, and he is willing to pay for that, whatever the price, that's the value that you are offering, and that's the actual value that of your product and that you're offering to your customer or your consumer. That's at least my definition of value. Everybody has their own. It doesn't have to be true, but over the years, I have found that the value has this kind of meaning. And the first question is, how do you find that value? I often say in all of the presentations that I hold regarding the product management that it's always in front of you. It's the actual problem. So for me, there is equality between value and the problem. Problem can be literally anything. If you are every day going to a retail shop and you're spending cash instead of you paying with your credit card, the problem is they do not have a point of sale system. They do not have point of sale hardware, right? So biggest value that they can have as a retail shop is that they introduce the POS point of sale at their retail shop, right? Or to talk about a different perspective is also if you're an IT company offering nearshoring or outsourcing, right? What's the value that you are offering to your clients? You are not solving their problems by just, charging them 20 euros less per hour than any other company in Europe or Asia. Your actual value is that you're offering perhaps end-to-end solution. So from defining the requirements with your client, because they're not the technical experts, to maybe offering also marketing services at the end, because they do not know how to sell their product. So that's actually how you find it. It's always in front of you. It's the smallest problem that you can find in any kind of industry, in any kind of job. That's the value for me. So problem equals value. And to be honest, when I hear, but isn't my product and service value enough, meaning that something that you are, selling, it can be literally anything, a bottle of orange juice, I always say no, because everybody can come in and say, hey, I have the best product out there. Look at my orange juice. It's pure, organic, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the value of, of your product. Your value of that product is if you're saying that these oranges have been in your family for last 50 years, right? That there is a history behind that orange juice, that you're cold pressing that orange juice every single day by yourself using hands, then that has a value. But it's not just the orange juice. So then we have a question: how do we value the value? And if you go to Google and you type in how to value the product, digital product value, you will probably find tons and tons of blog posts saying that you can value it by profit, by market position, by utility, or anything like from customer perception. It can be even by how many features of that product has solved your problem. But what I have found through the years is that you have to value your product by what matters to you. And let me explain that a bit. So last 5 or 6 products that I have built from product management perspective have been always challenge to us, because we didn't know what's important to our consumers. We didn't know what's important to our customer at that point, because we as IT company have never sat in truck and drove it from spot A to spot B, done the loading and unloading of actual truck. So we needed to find that perspective of our own in the product, and to say ourselves, we are going to value this specific solution of the problem with a specific terms. So it's not going to be by profit, it's not going to be by market position, because we do not know the market. We have never been in transportation. So we are just going to say, these are the terms that we like. This is the importance for us. So for example, for our product for transportation and load exchange, what's important is that our customers can easily find a load to transport. For our customers to be easily to charge the opposing side without any bureaucracy, without sending the invoices, and to get paid in the fastest possible way, 30, 60, 90 days, that's slow. If I can get paid tomorrow, that would be the best. So that's how we find and how we value that value, because we are saying these things are important to us, and these things are important because our customers care also about those values. So that's how we value the value, not by profit, not by market position, because those are the absolute numbers which you can easily open an Excel spreadsheet and just enter the values that you get from Google Analytics, from Stripe, from anything else, and you already have it. But also, if you're just starting, if you are bootstrapping your product, I mean, by market position, are you really ready to pay 2,000 to 5,000 euros, for somebody to do the market research? I don't think so. So you have to find what matters to you, but also what that matters to you is going to matter to your customer at the end. And really, the last thing which is really important about the capturing the value, and this is literally a copy paste of a person that I found that really had a really nice explanation on capturing the value, is a business creates an X amount of euros of dollars of value, and it captures epsilon % of that amount of dollars that you have in the market. And those are independent variables, meaning if your total market cap is $200 billion, right? And that you have a product that's solving a single issue in that market, you are not going to have $200 billion of revenue. You're just going to capture a certain percentage of that. This person that I copy pasted this slide from has a really good comparison of Google and the United States Airlines, where they are showing how Google is capturing 23% of whole market, which is $300 billion. And you have United States Airlines, which is capturing only 2% of the whole market, which is $200 billion, right? So that's the best example of what you need to care is the epsilon, not the X, because X can be, 100 million, 200 million, 20 million, or even 5 million. But the epsilon is what you really care about. It's the percentage that you, as a product, you are capturing only a certain amount of that dollars, and you need to focus on that. If you're saying my target is to capture, I don't know, $10,000 this month, you need to focus on that 10,000, not the whole market cap. But we'll talk more about capturing the value later on and how to do it. But this is a really great example of sentence that I found over the years, and that's I always copy pasted from that person. It's called Peter Thiel, and it's really great sentence, and it always brings me back to the epsilon, not to the X. So let's talk about product. Again, my definition of product is a utility with benefits built by you for your consumers, your customers, bringing in passive, and I highlight that passive income and great headache. Why passive? Because I found that over, I don't know, last 10 or 15 products that I have either consulted or built, that if you're doing that because you want to generate a steady monthly income, which is your active income, you always fail. Even if you're bootstrapping, even if there is investor behind you, if that's something that you're doing because of money, it will fail at some point. Maybe not in the first month, in the second month, or 2 years, but it will fail at the end because you're always chasing that monthly recurring revenue, and you're always looking at that target, and you're going to be failing because your value has to be the solution to the problem, not the money. So my question is always, do we see the problem at all? Are we looking at the problem? And for that, what I have seen in Serbia, at least when I came back from United States, is that people are always having trouble with the first step, and that's the ideation of or brainstorming of the solution. So if you're saying, listen, I'm working in an IT company, we are offering something, development services for 25 or 30 euros per hour, and that's it. If you come to a call with a client, he's going to say, okay, so how do you differ from a different IT company? And then you're going to say, well, we have a bigger amount of professionals. We are working with a college. We are charging less than, I don't know, people in Bulgaria or Croatia and so on. But then the customer is just going to say, okay, you are just like any shop, right? You are not offering anything specific that I have a liking for, that I would like to work with you because of. And that's the problem, because we are missing the first step. Why you as IT company, or why you as any other company that's offering some kind of service is better than anybody else in the market. And that's where the brainstorming of the solution needs to come in. You need to sit down and think about, how can I offer my service in a better way, even if it's just a storytelling, even if it's selling an empty jar without anything in it. But I need to differ from my competition in some way. And it has to be unique. It has to be really exclusive to my customer, because he needs to understand that after the first sentence, you are the best partner that they can work with, or they can buy a service or product from. In order to do that brainstorming, of course, you need to do research. Who is your buyer? How much are they willing to spend? Why they are even talking to you? I mean, how did they find you? How did they find your product? And research is something that's expensive, takes time, but if you do it properly, you will always find that there is a way to better understand your customer and your potential buyer. What we have done always is something we call a pre-prototype pitch, where without even having a prototype done, without even having the user interface done, we go to potential prospects and we offer them just an idea of solution that we would like to sell. And we would hear the feedback, compose that feedback again to the prototype, and go back now with prototype and show it again to potential prospect. A lot of people are going to say, yes, but that takes time. Who is going to pay for that? Also, our customer is going to find out that we are working on that. He's going maybe to share that with somebody else, and somebody is going to steal my idea. And I'll tell you, yes, that's potentially true. But for example, in the company that I'm working right now, for 5 years, we have been working a similar way. And never it has happened that if we go to our potential prospect and we say, hey, could you look at this? This is our potential product. They always came back to us as a potential customer saying, when can we use it? We like it. We never had those kind of issues. And also regarding the bootstrapping and financing, all of that, my answer to you would be, you can kick off with outsourcing, which would finance the product development. So you're building the reputation, you're building also the name for your company by offering outsourced classic services, project management, programming, user interface design, marketing, you're building the name for your company. And by that, you're also generating revenue, which is going to sponsor or which is going to pay for the product development. And at the end, I mean, you probably heard this many, many times, iteration is your best friend. It for sure is. You'll probably fail 150 times when it comes to the problem and ideation of the solution. But really, if you do not fail at least 10 to 15 or 20 times, you're not going to succeed at the end, because at some point you need to receive that bad feedback. And there is a fun story here to say, when we built the Starloads, the transportation and load exchange platform, and again, we were new to market, we didn't know anything about transportation. On a day of a launch, of course, we paid for marketing campaigns. The office phone, not the mobile phone, but the office phone started ringing. And there were, I think, 15 people in the office. Nobody imagined that somebody will actually call the office phone, especially office of 10 programmers and me and a couple of other people from marketing and design. And that certain customer, future customer at that point, prospect, would tell us, hey guys, you're missing that and that on registration process. I cannot finish it because I cannot enter, I don't know, some kind of details about trucks and so on. That kind of feedback is something that people would pay for. But we got it on the first day of launch by people actually ringing the office phone and saying, hey, you're missing that, blah, blah, blah. It was a failure for us because we were missing that key detail, of course, in the whole platform. We missed it, right? But the point is, through the iteration of these calls with that certain customer who is who's our future customer, we got the product to the best fit, and that helped us. And this is actually one of my favorite parts, which I have seen on Twitter for last year. I mean, it's crazy. People are posting tweets like, hey, my monthly recurring revenue is more than 10,000. Learn how, buy my ebook, read 25 or 30 pages, and you're going to become a millionaire, blah, blah, blah. And then you see all this drop shipping stuff, you know, start drop shipping. You can drive a, I don't know, Lamborghini or Porsche after a month because you're using my e-course for the drop shipping and so on. This kind of stuff is, again, selling your product with a storytelling. I mean, they are selling their product because they tried drop shipping, they tried something else, and they, of course, didn't succeed, but they have learned on their mistakes and they composed the classic ebook, which they are going to sell with a story in it, and they earn money. But what's interesting about this, and that's the reason why it's in my slides, is if you look at this kind of offers, right? If you look at this kind of products, what you will find is that, let me take a different example. For example, our company is working with PHP as a programming language, and my colleagues are using Laravel framework, right? And around Laravel, there is a whole community on Twitter, on Reddit, on any other platform, and they are talking about different tools, utilities that you can use for rapid development, right? So a couple of people actually started commercialization of this stuff. How? By building a utility, small packages, which you can use, and they're selling them at one-time fee, right? $29, $35. And it's really, it's really interesting when you see the whole roadmap, what they do. They open a Twitter account for themselves. They share a couple of tips on, you know, how to do faster rapid development, how to, you know, do cooler stuff with Laravel, how to, you know, use different tools in a better way for you to, you know, grow as a programmer, grow as a software engineer. They generate the community around their profile, and then they start selling it to that exact same community. And selling, I mean, they're creating a product, which is a classic ebook PDF holding 20, 30 pages, or maybe a small package, and then they sell it for $29 or $35 to 200,000 people, 300,000 people. And after it's done, they actually share the whole story, and they take a screenshot of Stripe, how much money they have earned. And that creates even more vibe for people who bought the ebook to buy again from them. It's really funny when you see that, because I started asking myself, why myself, Jovan Soldatovic from Serbia, could not sit down and, draft 25, 30 pages of an ebook and start selling it on Twitter or any other kind of platform, right? And the answer for that is maybe you do not have time, maybe that's wrong, maybe you are not in that kind of service, maybe you're not a writer, but this kind of stuff attracts people, and it's a new trend that's that has been going probably in rest of the world for a long time, but in Serbia we are starting to see the increase of that, especially with these marketing guys, gurus, which are sharing this kind of stuff, right? Like Masterbox or whatever, where they try to get people to pay for, I don't know, 20 euros a month in order to get access to their premium tutorials and so on. But the point is, all of this is fun, it's challenging. You get the joy of receiving positive feedback at some point, right? It's boring because you have to do the repetitive stuff every single day. But it's also fun at the end when it's a payout day, when you get that Stripe push notification saying that, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 euros have been withdrawn to your bank account. So that part is interesting. And again, going back to the passive and active income, you should not set expectation that you're going to be a millionaire by the end of the month. If you do that, you're going to probably fail. And the interesting part of the presentation, the boutique. Exclusive store with a single shelf, holding multiple digital products, tagged with a proper price tag, I highlight that, and a great story behind it. That's how I present bad systems, for example, to any kind of our customers. We are exclusive, unique IT boutique with a couple of digital products, which have a pretty good proper price tag on each of them. And we have a great story. We are a small startup with startups in it. We are 20 to 25 people. We are not going to grow to 150 company. We are not offering nearshoring or outsourcing. We are offering only a couple of digital products in a different industries, which are solving a smallest issue in that industry. Not everything, but just one of the problems that they could have. And by saying that, I always tell people, do not build just one product, build 10, or just build a whole ecosystem. And I'll give you an example. If, let's say, you are offering a product which is solving a problem for drop shipping, for example, and you are building a tool which is, I don't know, a Chrome extension or any kind of browser extension, which is going to collect all of the products on that page, compare the prices and tell you where you should buy the cheapest product and then sell it on Amazon or whatever, right? Or AliExpress. Instead of you solving just that issue, you could go around and find other possible issues tied to that same exact feature and build a different products and then solve the whole ecosystem. That's what we did, for example. We have something called Remedy, which is a resource management capacity platform, which is solving the issues regarding planning, organization of your resources in the company. Then we have a Kanban, which is product project management. It's solving issue for your product and project management. Then we have something like a ERP solution, which is solving your inventory, bank statement, balance sheets, and everything else. Then we have a transportation and load exchange platform, which is solving your logistics issue, right? And at the end, we have a Clapper, for example, which is solving your customer care and your customer service, the way how you're communicating with customers at the end in really unique and a different way than classic chat. So we have a whole ecosystem behind the whole retail, if you want, process, where you buy a product from a certain customer, then you need some kind of support for that product. The logistics is solved, but also the whole behind the scenes or backstage of planning, resource planning is also solved. So that's why I'm always saying, do not build just one product. Do not solve only one problem in the certain industry. Build 10 different products, and then try to compose them in the whole ecosystem. And that's your story. That's what you need to sell. And of course, when I'm saying all of this, I'm a young person, blah, 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 only so many years of experience behind it. But who is the judge to say, yes, this is correct, or no, it's not? There is a different way of doing things. I can tell you again from all of this that I have seen, it's always the consumer, the customer. They're one and only judge for everything. If you are saying that my product is the best, you have to showcase it by G2 reviews, by Trustpilot reviews. Yes, your product is the best because it has so many positive reviews or it has so many positive comments. And if you benchmark your product, I don't know, against something else, your product has these kind of niche features that are better. Your competitor, they're more than welcome, but they should be only your motivation and copy paste. Meaning, if you see something that you do not have, copy paste it, but do it better. That's it. Only motivation, nothing else. You do not need to look at their numbers. You do not need to compare your numbers to theirs because at some point you will overgrow them, and that's it. Your family, they should be your support, financial support. Why? Because if you're bootstrapping your product, you are going to probably loan the money from your family. Do not go to bank. The fees are crazy, but jokes aside, I mean, they should be only your support in any kind of that matter. Financial suggestions, ideas, you can use them for brainstorming and ideas. And market demand is your guidance. If you see the market is handling to one side on the other side, you should steer the ship in that way. So they should really serve always as a guidance, nothing else. The market demand should not dictate the tempo of you building one feature over the other, meaning the speed of development. It should only steer, should I do this feature first and then prioritize the second feature after that or whatever, not the speed of it, only when and priorities. And the whole story about the boutique shop and stop and shop is really about the story. And I will give you many examples. There is really one, which is the best of the whole story regarding the value and the selling and the boutique and exclusiveness, the uniqueness of the products. People are not buying the products because only of the feature of complexity or simplicity of the product, of the actual feature, or because it's solving their problem because, you know, it's a great product, it has a great name. They're buying the product because of the story behind it. For any kind of products that I have worked so far on, there has been always a story why we did it. And again, I'm going to go back to the Starloads because it has a really fun story. Starloads became a product from a classic Serbian place, Kafana. We started talking about trucks, and person randomly said that he has a truck on a border without a driver, he has a fruits in it, and there is nobody else to pick up the truck and drive it. The driver just left the keys in the truck and he left. And I said, but isn't there, you know, some kind of forum or a website where you can post the load so somebody can take it? He said there is one and only in the whole Europe called Timocom. They have been there for 15 years, but you have to pay 300 euros or something a month in order to access it. That's the story. And people are using Starloads because of that story. They know it. We publish that story. We are talking about it. We are proud on that, how we started with Starloads. They're not buying Starloads. They're not using Starloads because of service and because it's cheaper than any other competition. They're using Starloads because it's a fun story, because they believe in it. And we also believe in it because that's why we started it. And they like the whole concept behind it. We are not doing it because we want to earn on a simple trucker who is barely, you know, earning for life, or we are not interested in having a greater number of consumer base. We are not talking about hundreds, thousands of customers. We are talking about 30 to 50,000 customers. And that's what they buy. So my suggestion is always your true value is the story regarding the solution of the problem. You need to sell it. If you sell it properly, everybody's going to buy it. In marketing campaigns, in any kind of other concept, it's always the story that sells. Not the feature, not the price, but the story behind it. And last but not least, stop and shop, dynamic and upgradable shop. So the blueprint for it, how do you get there? So any kind of feedback counts, color is off, change it. You will probably hear in the other presentation that you have to focus on a demand of many, meaning if many customers come back with the same feedback, you should do it. That's true, But there was a great story back in World War II where American planes came back with the bullet holes in the plane itself, and they said, well, we should put plates, you know, where the holes are. And some guy came in and said, no, we should put plates where the holes are not, because those planes didn't came back. So that's the same story regarding the features, because you have to focus on those features which are not covered always by feedback, because people overlook them, or they start using your product, they see that you're missing something and they just stop using it. They go back to the old product or they find something else. So always do the A/B testing, and that's the next thing, iterate. Always iterate with smallest changes. If it's a color, just change it. Keep it for 2 to 3 days, see how people are going to react. If they hate it, change back. And that's normal. They are going to understand, because you are trying to improve the product, and they will appreciate that, and they will even pay more for it. If they see the constant change, that means you're motivated and you want to do more, they will stay with you. Competition is good. I always say that, because if there is a competition, that means that the market is good, there is a good market demand, and that you need to do better. And always copy whatever you're missing from competition, but do it better, and you will succeed. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's the first, I should have put that in first line. If it's perfect, that means you have spent a good amount of time on it, and it probably is not going to fit the market demand or customer demand. Because if you're spending 3 to 4 months to build a simple feature which is going to, you know, present some kind of data on your platform, it's probably going to be like, I didn't need this so much. So always try to go with prototypes, release stuff which is not fully completed or perfect. See what people say about it, and only then, if the market reacts properly, then complete it. Whoever says that you need, you know, to have quality, yes, that matters, but is it really the first thing that you look at? No, it's not. And unique and exclusive with a proper price tag. As I said at the beginning, the story sells. If you are unique and if you have something exclusive behind your product, you are going to be able to sell it for any kind of proper price tag. It doesn't have to be, you know, the highest price, but it doesn't have to be lowest, because if you go with the lowest price, you're not going to be able to change it afterwards. People are going to react really badly if you go from $15 a month to $29 or $35 a month. That's really bad for you. That shows that you're, you know, chasing money, and that's going to give a totally different message to your customers, which they do not want to hear. What's the goal of this whole stop and shop? It's the monopoly. It's really, you are only one and only seller of a unique solution for a single problem. You found a small niche that you can sell your product to, you can sell your solution for, again, with a really, really good proper price tag, and there is nobody else. If you have a monopoly over this problem of your customer, you're in a good spot. Even if there is hundreds and hundreds of different guys with competition, you are in a really, really good spot. That should be your target, not the money, not the monthly recurring revenue. It should be the revenue over the market, because monopoly will generate the epsilon, not the X. Thank you so much. Hopefully you enjoyed the presentation. If you have any questions, I'm looking at the chat. Anna asked me if you would be willing to populate the Mentimeter. There is a QR code on the bottom right side. If you can scan it and just describe this presentation in 3 words, I would be really thankful. Thank you so much.